College Football 2027 Recruiting. Early intel on top QBs, flips and more in the final weeks of February. In perhaps the only quiet month on the college football calendar, the 2027 high school recruiting cycle is gaining steam. With the 2026 class and transfer portal window closed, programs across the country are now casting their attention firmly on the class of 2027 this spring as elite prospects lock in visits, cut down lists of finalists and settle on commitment dates. As of Wednesday's update of the 2027 ESPN Junior 300, only 72 of the nation's top 300 prospects hold verbal pledges, setting the stage for plenty of action ahead. How are top programs preparing to spend on the recruiting trail after a pricey 2026 cycle? How are first-year coaches faring with their new schools? What's next for Alabama, Michigan and Notre Dame as dominoes begin to fall in a slow-moving quarterback class? And which premium offensive and defensive line talents are Florida, Miami, Ohio State and Texas A&M circling in the 2027 class? Here's what we're hearing as the latest recruiting cycle gets set to begin in earnest. Jump to a section. Money matters, new coaches, QB market, chasing linemen. How are programs preparing to spend in the 2027 cycle? Fueled by early payments, revenue-sharing deals and front-loaded contracts ahead of the House settlement last summer, money flooded into the 2026 recruiting cycle a year ago. Top prospects, such as offensive lineman Jackson Cantwell, Miami, and Felix Ojo, Texas Tech, secured multi-year deals worth north of $5 million in total compensation. At USC, the Trojans spent into the eight-figure range to sign the program's first #1 recruiting class since 2007. With help from a set of distinctive factors, the 2026 cycle presented a ripe moment for college football's top programs to spend bigger than ever on high school talent. A year later, coaches, general managers and agents forecast a much different financial landscape for the 2027 class. High school spending is going to get a lot lower, a Big Ten general manager told ESPN. Broadly speaking, college football programs are expected to spend more on their rosters over the next year. The initial revenue-sharing cap of $20.5 million, set for year one of the House settlement, will increase July 1. Meanwhile, industry sources say they believe above-cap roster spending among the sport's top programs will soon clear $40 million, if it hasn't already, with multiple Power 4 general managers projecting that schools could be committing upward of $55 million to their rosters in the not-so-distant future. As figures rise, elite high school recruits certainly won't be left out. High-end five-star prospects and guys at big-time premium positions are still going to get paid, an SEC personnel director said. But across the board, programs are going to be more selective with their money in recruiting this year. Why? For starters, front-loading, at least in the same way it was used a year ago, is off the table. Last spring, a number of major programs and prospects agreed to hefty revenue-sharing contracts outside of the revenue-sharing cap before the House settlement went into effect on July 1. In 2027, that straightforward opportunity to work outside of oversight is no longer available. Front office figures across the country are keeping a close eye on the College Sports Commission's no-go clearinghouse this spring, focused heavily on a pair of significant questions. 1. How will the CSC handle the sport's next wave of high-dollar, third-party nil agreements? 2. Does the Commission have the power to enforce any of its rulings? What the CSC does over the next few months will really determine how comfortable programs are spending, a Big 12 general manager said. Even the teams that front-loaded last year, they would have spent most of that now on this year's roster and they'll have less to give the 2027 class. Hamare Channel co-subscribe Karna Matt Bulna.